Thank you, Chairman Moran. Director Wray, good to be with you. I think we've known each other about 25 years, and it is great to see you in this role, and I'm grateful for what you and the terrific men and women of federal law enforcement, and in particular the FBI, do week in and week out. Their service, their devotion to the country, to the Constitution, and to the rule of law. You are literally the federal cops on the beat, as you were just discussing with the senator from West Virginia. You play a key part in making sure that not just federal law enforcement, but federal, state, and local law enforcement is highly effective, and you keep all Americans safe regardless of their political leanings, their background, their race, religion, or creed. When you took the oath last August, you took it to protect our Constitution, not to protect any individual or any party. And I have to say, I am deeply troubled by recent baseless attacks on the FBI. Would you agree that the effectiveness of the FBI really depends on citizens, on witnesses, on juries, on state and local law enforcement, all being able to have trust in the FBI?
Senator, the people you just listed off are great examples of the opinions that matter to me most and that matter to our people most. There's a lot of opinions out there about the FBI, just like there are about everybody in this room. But the opinions that matter the most are the opinions of juries when our agents take the stand, the opinions of magistrate judges when our agents bring them a search warrant, the opinions of our state and local partners. Do they trust us to work with them? Our private sector partners, our community partners, judges, as I mentioned before, victims and their families, do they trust us? Those are the opinions of people who know us through our work. And those are the opinions that matter to me and to our people.
Well, I hope that you do not find the opinions of some discouraging or dispiriting. This is National Police Week. We are all in our nation's capital honoring the men and women of law enforcement across the country. But we have seen, I think tragically, a series of public statements by President Trump suggesting that the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election is, quote, a witch hunt. He literally said last month, quote, you look at the corruption at the top of the FBI, it's a disgrace, close quote. Now, if this was just some stray comment, there's a wide range of opinions in our country, as you mentioned. We could dismiss it, but I'm concerned it's beginning to have an impact. There was a poll of 1,500 Americans released last week by The Economist that said 7% of Democrats, 25% of independents, and 61% of Republicans said the FBI is framing the president with the Department of Justice. Let me repeat that. 61% of Republicans surveyed said that the FBI and the Justice Department are framing the president of the United States. That seems to me directly opposite the care, the diligence, the professionalism, the dedication to rule of law that I've known in the men and women who I've known in the FBI, in our field office in Delaware, and here in my service in the Senate. Director, can I just ask you, are the FBI and the Department of Justice in any way attempting to frame the President of the United States?
Senator, the people that I work with every day, the people that I see every day inside the FBI are committed to doing the right thing in the right way with professionalism, integrity, objectivity, and courage. And so while I recognize that there are, as I said, a lot of opinions out there, we don't focus on polls and surveys and studies. We focus on, as I said, the opinions of the people who know us through our work. And what I find when I go out and talk to people in the field, out on the front lines, our partners, the judges, the prosecutors, the victims, the feedback I get uniformly is positive and supportive.
Well, and should you come to visit the field office in Wilmington, Delaware, I think you'll get exactly that same feedback. The FBI is a highly valued part of our local law enforcement community and a great contributor. There was a case just last month in Kansas where 3 men were convicted of plotting to blow up an apartment complex and mosque. And the FBI could disrupt this plot because an informant trusted the FBI, jurors trusted the FBI, all the evidence that it developed and brought forward, despite attacks on the FBI from the defense in that specific case. So I'll just conclude on this point by saying that I think trust in the FBI is absolutely essential to the rule of law in our country. And I didn't mean to berate you on the point. I just think we can't go without commenting on the fact that there is, in my mind, a steady erosion in confidence, and there's a cause of it. And I truly hope that the men and women of the FBI know they have strong bipartisan support here in Congress. Let me ask you a last question. My home community of Wilmington, as I know you know, has faced an epidemic of gun violence in recent years. We've had a lot of assistance from federal law enforcement. And one of the things we're trying to do is to make sure that we keep guns out of the hands of persons prohibited. That's why I joined with Senator Toomey to introduce the NICS Denial Notification Act, which requires the federal government to notify state and local law enforcement when a person prohibited fails a background check. Last year, the NICS section denied 104,000 firearm transactions where people who are prohibited by law attempted to buy. Do you think it'd be helpful for federal law enforcement to notify state law enforcement when someone prohibited from owning a firearm attempts to purchase one?
Well, Senator, obviously, we, like you, want to make sure we're keeping guns out of the hands of the wrong people, those who are prohibited by law from possessing them, and NICS denials are a key tool in that. I haven't studied the bill that you're describing. We do feel very strongly about our need to work closely with state and local partners to share information. I'd have to look at the sort of operational impact of that. Obviously, there's always a balance between the form, we all feel in today's world in law enforcement that we want more information, but we also get deluged with information. So we have to work through some of those issues. I will say on Wilmington, as you may know, the task force that we've had working there, I think there's been a 71% drop in gun crime, in the last year.
We're very hopeful. Summer's just getting started. We're hoping that trend will hold. But
and then we had an arrest just yesterday, actually, there on a kidnapping murder charge related to one of the big gangs in Wilmington. So.
You did. I'll forward you the bill. Thank you for your indulgence. Thank you very much for your service, Director.
Senator from Alaska, Senator Murkowski.